Hi, this is Dawn Shireen. Welcome to my podcast, The Delusion is Vast. So, how are y'all doing out there? I'd like to welcome y'all to the show and I'd like to thank those of you who are returning who have listened to the first show in the trailer. Hi, welcome back. And if you're new, hi, welcome. It's good to have you here. I guess the basic premise of this show is just to have a place to talk about stuff that I find to be exceptionally odd and weird, which truthfully at this point in time is almost everything, because we seem to be in a diabolical shift on Earth here, and it's good, but it's weird. Okay, and let me just get into that. So I've been thinking a lot lately because I have a stalker situation here in Flagstaff, Arizona, and so it's led me to some deep thought about life and how I want to live my life and what it is that I want to be remembered for the brief period of time that my life is still relevant in the world, because unless you're, I don't know, like there's people that have definitely stood the test of time, so unless I'm like them, like Jesus, Joan of Arc, Napoleon, Sophocles came to mind right off the bat, which is odd, Socrates, Michelangelo, things like that. You're basically an essence, right, of your time, and then as things move on, people may build upon what you left in your essence, and they might carry that forward, but you yourself are very likely kind of lost in the bringing of the new regalia. That's not the right word, but the new regiment. Okay. But I've been being stalked, and I've been pretty angry about it, and I had prior been human trafficked, sex trafficked, and this thing with this stalking was very triggering to me, and extremely triggering to me, and it made me think a lot about how it is that interacting with people can affect your life in a negative way. Okay. And basically, this dude, it was a rage stalk. I never wanted to be around him ever in my life. When I first met him, he asked me to go to dinner with him, and I agreed hesitantly. And he didn't even show up for the date that day because he was out doing meth in another town out here in Arizona, doing quote-unquote landscaping. And he didn't even call to tell me he wasn't going to make it. So right off the bat, it's bad. And then he sent me a nude photo the second day. I had given him my phone number and requested I do the same. So that's a no. And so I was thinking about but I mean, I could have approached that a whole different way, right? And just been like, no, you are vile just at sight, and no, I'm not going to give you my number. I'm not going to try to be neighborly. I'm not going to try to be friendly. I'm not going to try to break into this neighborhood in a, less than caustic way. I chose to, just be neighborly, right? Anyway. So, and then that led to a lot of stuff because we have a shared landlord, and it's a big plot of land, but it's it's too close for comfort for me, right? But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, him being in the Antarctic Ocean would be too close at this point. Anyway, back to the point. So I was thinking about if you pulled every kindness back, okay, this gets deep, okay, that's what I do. So if you pulled every kindness back that you ever did in your life to people who had a negative intent towards you, what would happen to the world, right? So you're thinking everything that was built upon that kind intent, even if these people despised you, right, and you still did good for them, and they built upon that kindness, be it, I don't know, money, food, whatever it is, right? Something for somebody's kid. But these people secretly just hated you, right? Had it out for you. And if you could just pull all those kindnesses back from people that had evil intent on you, what would happen? Right? I mean, think about it. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's what we're seeing in the news today. And again, it's September 2024. The structure of the entertainment business that I was brought up with is crumbling before my eyes right now. So, am I surprised? No, I'm not really. However, is it shocking? Kinda, in a little bit, but in a good way. But it's still shocking because it's like finally there's like vindication and validation for every person who's been essayed and hurt and abused and lied upon and betrayed. That eventually the day will come and your perpetrator will get their day, okay? Now, not necessarily in court and not necessarily in the, way that you as the target may wish for it to happen. But I have to say, even though I personally do not know, as far as I know, like maybe 10 degrees of separation, I do not know any of these people, these highbrow people that are seeing the other side, the world from the other side right now. No connection. However, having been an abused woman and all the shit that happened to me, I was human trafficked, okay, sex trafficked. I mean, whatever, I guess there are degrees to it. I'm going to say that right now. Not as bad as 98% of the other human beings that go through that experience. I still experienced it though, okay? I know the feeling. I know the hopelessness. I know it's all, and I don't want to really advertise the old podcast, but there's a lot of back history there on Dancing with Bipolar that I talk about that, and research it if you want to, but that was a different era, right? For me, so. Anyway, but I'm not going to say that seeing this highbrow status person eating it right now makes me feel really kind of pleased that there is an end to it, that, every predator will eventually have to face something that makes them life review exactly what they did to people, exactly how they hurt people. And then people say that when you die that happens, but it's kind of good to see somebody going through it while they're still alive and having to face what they did. And I'm sure this guy's never going to own up to it. He is, because he's not okay, and he's not okay in his brain. Just like the stalker voyeur dude, he's not okay in his brain. So if you can't comprehend the fact that what you're doing is morally and ethically wrong, because that's not what you were taught, then there's no amount of reconditioning, right? That's a good word, reprogramming. There's no amount of anything that's going to make you a moral human being once you've gone so far over to the other side that you are a demon on two legs, right? And I think we're going to have a lot of demons coming out on this, just like any kind of subversive environment. There's a lot of tendrils that go out from that, right? And it's quiet because this is not good shit, right? It's like jellyfish. They get you with your tendril and you don't realize it until about 2 minutes after the fact that poison is rampant in your blood and they already got a 2-minute jump on you. It's kind of like that, right? However, the way I'm describing what's going on now is like, this is like a cracked windshield, man, and it just starts to spider a little bit here and spider a little bit there. And it's going to take somebody kicking the whole fucking windshield out in order to replace the system. Or in the window, but in this case, the system. How the hell do we do that? I don't even know what to listen to anymore. I'm kind of like going way back machine, right? And even then, it's kind of like questionable and I, in a way, it's kind of ridiculous because it's like me supporting artists that may or may not have done things in the early 2000s before COVID. Is it going to affect them now? Probably not, right? I mean, probably not. They already sold out to whoever. I'm not going to say anything. But they already sold out to whatever music presenter. They've signed their contracts. They've signed their deals. And my play isn't going to get them a penny more or a penny less. Pretty sure of it. And is my humble opinion going to affect the trial? No. Not directly. But can my truth and my... man, I want to be so careful how I say this, because I don't want to be like I'm in victory, because people been hurt. People been hurt in a permanent way. Like, and turning somebody turning to alcohol in order to cope with the abuse of what happened to them before they realized that they had a voice. I have to, there's a soft spot for that, right? Does it make future actions? God, this is like really tough. This is a really tough thing, because if you're conditioned to believe something one way, man, yeah, it's a mind fuck. These people, like, legitimately, if, like, there's just things that, are legal in other countries when shit like this comes up, that the United States, because of due process in the Constitution, which I'm grateful for, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all that stuff. However, there's things about the internet and drug distribution and manipulation that may or may not have been considered when the Constitution was written. That's why laws get changed, and that's why things get remanded, and that's why because they have to grow with the times, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of law in this. This goes into so many different directions that this guy is probably going to have thousands and thousands of court dates on just what he's got now for, like, actual indictments. But I mean, this thing is going to roll forever. I mean, unless something untoward should happen to him at this most prestigious of federal detention centers that he's at, But anyway, I didn't mean to go into that, down that trail, but we did. So anyway, now y'all kind of know how I feel about that, right? If you haven't listened to the show prior to this, I'm not good with rape culture. I'm not good with intimidation. I'm not good with manipulation. I'm not good with predatory behavior. I'm not good with none of that. So if that's what you're here for, because you think it's okay, then you can go. This is not the place for you. So other than that, and like just being, today was a kind of a weird day. Workers around the house, which, is a trigger, because that's what started this whole thing with the stalker, is him at 5:30 in the morning being under my house for some odd reason, and then, deftly jumping across a pathway to quote unquote weed nothing. So anyway, that was a trigger for me. So, that's kind of, it's not what started the roll, because I was already on a roll since Danny Masterson, because, that's the time when I reported the trafficking and everything that happened to me, because I gotta say, it's kind of like a mob mentality. There's a little bit of power behind somebody that big going down and realizing that your little trafficking case, quote unquote, can have a resolution in the positive for me as the target on that. So, and things did happen, which I'm not going to get into, but in my mind, it's permanently resolved, and that's all that I really care about to say about that at all right now. It'll never have to process any further than it did, which I'm grateful for, and had absolutely nothing to do with. That was God at work before. God's always at work. Anyway, so that's kind of my little vent rant today. Life is really good, and life is what you make it, right? And trying not to get caught up in all this stuff while having been re-traumatized so recently it's a little bit of a struggle, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to wallow in this trials, because this is going to go on for years, okay, legitimately. And we're just seeing everybody says it, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg now. I actually have an inkling as to who, like, the foundation of this is, and I am not speaking on that at all. I'm just leaving that alone right now, because I'm smart, and I like waking up every day and breathing, and, you know, having the opportunity to actually speak my voice, and, you know, enjoy my constitutional and freedom of speech rights. So, you know, and I'm just gonna say that this is like, you remember the game, like, I think it was called, I don't remember what it was called, Ice Cube, Ice Block, where, like, you would tap, 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 and then, like, and I remember there was a penguin that, like, was part of the whole advertising of it. Break the ice, break the ice, break the ice. This is kind of what I feel like this is like you just kind of tapping, and all of a sudden there's going to be one tap, and this whole thing is going to be like, boom. And there's not going to be any way to reset the ice. It's done. And that's what I feel about that. Otherwise, I want to recognize the fact that it is Suicide Awareness Month. Having survived a suicide myself and having lost a dear loved one to a suicide, I just want to recognize the fact that life can be a struggle, but you don't have to give up. 988 in the United States is your literal lifeline. You know, don't give up. Okay, it's not. You know, especially if, like, you're being triggered by anything on this as a survivor side of it. I guess even if you're a predator and you're feeling guilt and shit about it, call for help. You know, nobody should. I'm going to say that because I'm not a horrible person. If you're feeling inclined to hurt yourself, call for help. It's available. But if you're a predator and a voyeur and a stalker, just don't come around my house, because I'm not cool with that. Okay, but get help. So I think that's it. Went longer than I thought. Like, I haven't done this in a minute, so I keep forgetting how easy it is to fill up time. But I just want to let you all know that though the world is changing and you got to kind of roll with the punches, if you're already full of integrity and a good person, just keep going forth, man. It's gonna eventually be a good thing to be a good person again. It'll happen, okay? We just got to keep on pushing forward, doing the next right thing all the time, and we got this thing beat. All right, so this is Dawn Shireen. Thanks for listening to my podcast. The Delusion is Vast, and I'm gonna just keep my tagline. All right, so let's all stay alive, okay? Later.